What up, though, man? It's James Vergado of Godlevelgenius, man. In today's video, man, I want to speak about the Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary highlighting the tycoon known as Vince McMahon. Bro, so as a kid, growing up, this was my favorite thing to watch was the Attitude Era of WWF at the time before they turned into WWE. I was a huge fanatic, man, of watching wrestling. I contributed to the finances by always wanting to purchase the action figures. I actually probably would have never stopped buying them until I got my first video game when I was like in junior high or something, because my mama wasn't really on this. She felt like it would have been a distraction, which it became, you know what I'm saying? But once they got the video game, I stopped buying action figures or having her buy them for me. And when I was a kid, man, I didn't get caught up in the whole wrestling was fake. It's like I knew what was going on. Like, and in this documentary, I was excited when he said, when people was trying to dismiss the fact that it was fake, and all that, he was just creating a live theatrical play of characters that he created to compete with pro sports entertainment. He was just trying to create the biggest company, but he used wrestling as the medium to create this live play, so to speak. I always thought Vince McMahon was a genius, despite his dark side and things that he's being accused of. I always, as a kid, I saw right through it. I was like, yo, this man is like ahead of the curve, because he was really like describing how the real world works. Like majority of the time, anybody that wanted to reign as the champion, they had to essentially sell their soul to the devil, you know what I'm saying, which was the character Mr. McMahon. Like, you had to sell your soul and be a part of his regime, and if you wasn't gonna last long as a champion. And I was like, that's how the world works, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you go against the system, you're not gonna have longevity in regards to for the most part, because I know it's some characters that did, like The Rock. He was the people's champ. John Cena at one point, but even they sold out at one point, you know what I'm saying, and became a heel. So that's what I appreciated the most about Vince McMahon as a businessman, because it taught me a lot about creating entities and how how to have longevity with your creations, and to see how Hulk Hogan was his first big time investment in his first star, and how he figured out a formula with that, and he just kept bringing one after the next. And of course, Stone Cold and The Rock, that's 1A. Like, any given day, one is better than the other one, but they were box office. I've always been inspired by that, man. But all the other stuff, as far as some of the things he did or has been accused of, if that stuff true, man, of course I'll rock with that. But as a businessman, Vince McMahon was always my favorite growing up. Like, creating WrestleMania that's bigger than the Super Bowl and the NBA Finals, arguably, just depending on the year. I just thought that was fascinating, man, because it started with an idea and it seemed so far-fetched, but he saw it, you know what I'm saying, from being under his dad, that he could take that company and make it the biggest thing worldwide. Man, you got to give it to him on that. But in regards, man, to some of the things in the documentary, that a lot of this information was already out there that I know about, but the Owen Hart story always, bothers me for some reason, because I always felt like Vince might have got somebody paid off to like do something to get Owen Hart killed to get back at Bret. And when Bret admitted that on the Netflix documentary, I was like, yeah, that's probably true. Because even when Vince had this situation with the reporter challenging the authenticity of wrestling and saying, it was fake, they said Vince was like in the locker room, like, I sure would like for somebody to put him in this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, he manipulated, one of the wrestlers to be a crash dummy. You know what I'm saying? And Vince paid paid him off, you know what I'm saying, on the low. So that was interesting. And also, Vince was explaining in this documentary how, you know, perception is reality, and a lot of people couldn't separate which one was which, you know. And it was interesting seeing, and when I say which one is which, I'm talking about the character Vince McMahon, and you know, the actual well, the character Mr. McMahon, and the actual person Vince McMahon. You know, like they pretty much collided, you know, as one, and people really couldn't separate it. And I thought that was a trip. Like John Cena and Mick Foley. Well, I don't think Mick Foley was commentating, but you know, it was John Cena, Triple H, and you know, some other veterans. You know, they was basically all saying like Hulk Hogan. He was, it was the same person. You know, and that's the crazy thing about art. Like when we watch movies and we see artists and things like that, it's hard to separate like which one is which, because sometimes they intertwine so well. And I always thought Vince just used WWE as a way to live out his fantasies even more that he's already living as a reality. I think that, you know, and I think when you create something that major, you can really push the lines, because you have such a cult following and you have fans that's so invested into this product, you know what I'm saying? And you got that much power, man, you tend to forget like, oh, they think I'm playing, you know what I'm saying? Because they so in love with, you know, with this character. And some people are that you know, involved in it. I was at one point, but I was a child. But you know, when I became a man and grew up, you know what I'm saying, I kind of, some things kind of got creatively, I just, you know, was like, this is getting played out, you know. But for the times that I was like invested in, I was like, wow, this is amazing, you know what I'm saying? It's like the best show ever. And I give him credit for that. But I don't really think it was much separation, you know. But I can't really speak on that because I've never met the man and I don't know him personally to say that. But you know, it's just some things he was saying in the documentary, man, where he was like, people was telling him no. Like I know he was saying he wanted to do something where he would have Stephanie get impregnated by him, and I'm just like, come on, fam, like what are we doing? And then to hear that allegedly, you know, he was sexually abused by a relative, might have been his own mother, or some of that nature. Don't quote me on that, but I thought somebody said that. But it's an interesting documentary, man. If you want to know, like, you know, somewhat of the backstory of how he created the multi-billion company, which is known as WWE. And you know, it kind of goes into some of the dark things that's transpired over the years. And you know, man, with a multitude of success, man, it's definitely gonna be some dark moments, you know what I'm saying, and things is gonna happen. And nobody gets that much success without being sued or accused of something. But I just saw recently Vince is making a documentary to counteract some of the accusations that came from it. But I didn't even think it was that bad. I mean, for the most part, they was really showing triumph to his success, you know, which he deserved. And of course, the Chris Benoit is always a hard thing to speak about, because that's just crazy, you know, with the CTE. But nowadays they said wrestling has really changed and the schedules isn't as hectic with WWE, and with, you know, more research, they've learned how to, you know, better take control of the health of the wrestlers. So man, if you saw the Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary, man, you're a WWE, WWF Attitude Era fan, drop a comment, leave your thoughts, and let me know what you thought about it, man. I'd love to go and engage with y'all to see your thoughts on it, man. And in the meantime, man, if you made it this far to the video, I want to say thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the Godlevelgenius YouTube channel. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, stay tuned to the content. I am James Vergado, and as always, be God level. The genius is in you. God level genius.